here is just a friendly reminder that we record our penguin reviews the weekend after they drop, due to the fact that we record across an ocean, and this side of the ocean only gets the new episode on Monday. Better late than never, I guess. This is a review of Champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions Sakar has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. First up, on camera, we have Mr. Taylor first, the original. How are you?
I'm great.
Voice only, we have Loki's mom. How are you?
Doing real good.
And joining us a little bit later is Mr. Lord Deafman, also voice only, but we will see him when he gets here. Today we're going to talk about episode 2 of The Penguin, called Inside Man. But before we do, I want to ask you all to help us out. Like and share this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you really can't get enough of us, join our ranks. Go to sakar.freeforms.net, set up that account and join our forum and join our shows. You can do that if you want to. We'd love to have you on the show. Consider this your final warning. After this point, the spoilers are incoming. So if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, do that first and then check out our review. Well, Oscorp is playing double agents for the Maronis and the Falconis. So that can only end well, right? Well, people, let's dance. Quick thoughts. Lokismom, what did you think of episode 2 of The Penguin?
Well, it's just as good as the first episode that I saw last week, and it's continuing on with the same narrative. I think we're getting a little bit further into Oz's plans to become the crime boss of Gotham City. So, really good episode.
Yeah. Taylor, you agree?
I agree wholeheartedly. It was a really great episode, and so far it's a really great show.
Yeah, I also agree. This is a show where you just have to keep paying attention, but it costs you absolutely no trouble. It's intriguing. I like what Oz is doing, playing both sides of the family, and then now actually the third side. Taylor, Sophia. Do you like Sophia?
Sophia is a great character, and the actress is doing a fantastic job. You can tell that she's extremely smart. Also, you can tell that she's a bit off balanced, and everyone is afraid of her. I love the way, of course, all the supporting characters and actors and stuff. You can tell they may not respect her, even like the other bosses. They don't respect her, but you can even tell that they're a little gentle with how far they push her and how fast. And at the end of this episode, it looks like they've gone a little bit too far with her, and it looks like she's going to take some action here shortly. But yeah, just the performance of the actress is just fantastic. And the same with, of course, Colin Farrell as Penguin. What I love about the way the characters develop so far is we're really learning a lot about him. And I don't mean his, what he had for breakfast when he was 10 years old or any of that stuff. We're learning how smart he is, how manipulative he is, and how able he is to think ways out of trouble quickly and make it happen. Right? Which makes him just, a really formidable villain, putting all those things together, even though he just looks like a fat slob with a limp who, works for some gangsters. But we're seeing that he's much more than that.
Yeah, he can think on his happy feet. You can say that.
Exactly.
So, any negatives in this week's episode for you?
No, not really for me. I didn't have any negatives at all. I think the whole story is unfolding well. I think the pacing is good so far. They're not stringing us along, making us think, something's going to happen soon. Something's going to happen. No, stuff is happening, and it's happening, unfolding right in front of our eyes every week so far. I like the development with the kid that Penguin has working for him now. I think he's going to continue to grow as a character and as a criminal, most likely, unless he has a change of heart at some point. But yeah, no, I don't have any issues at all. It's really well directed. It's well acted. The lighting and the cinematography is all really good. If it's quite cinematic, even though there's no big CGI explosions or anything like that. But just the shooting of this, as if it were a crime thriller movie, is really well done.
Yeah, I agree. The Loki's mom. Do you have any complaints about this episode? I have one, but I will get to that later.
Well, that's interesting. I want to find out what that is because I
Yeah,
didn't
it's a
see that
story.
anything.
It's more like a story choice they made, but I will explain later.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, as far as the story, I'm not familiar with the Hangman character. I think she's somebody that they added um, long after I was reading Batman comic books and whatnot. But the actress Kristen Mialotti, I think that's how you pronounce her name. She's just fantastic, and I really get a lot. I can see they played her like she's Connie in The Godfather, played by Talia Shire. I really get the strong vibe from that. I think they deliberately are doing it. It's sort of like, well, what if Connie had become Don Corleone? I mean, it's sort of almost like in some that way. And there was actually one scene where, toward the end, where her uncle and his henchmen or whatnot are discussing what they're going to do now with the Maroney family and whatnot, and then they sort of are get revenge for Al's death, and they sort of push her off out, and then they shut the door, and that's sort of a famous scene in The Godfather where Don Corleone's or Michael Corleone's wife is told to leave, and then they shut the door.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I spotted that. I spotted that homage, if you will, as well.
Yeah. Like I say, otherwise it's just well paced, great script. I mean, it's intelligent. They don't play down to the audience. I mean, the violence is all there. It's very gory, but part of the story. I mean, these are vicious, horrible people, so they're going to do vicious, horrible things. So it's appropriate that we see that level of violence in the show. The heist where they're in the FEMA truck, and that was well done. I thought that was how it really went into it. Starts out with that joke, and then it goes into this real horrific scene of everybody getting mowed down. Yeah, otherwise, it's just like you say, it's just well done, as you said, homage to The Godfather and to those types of films.
Yeah. As promised, Lord Deathman has joined us. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, everybody. Pardon my tardiness.
Oh, no. You're most welcome to join us at any time. And if death comes late, that's always a good thing. But anyway, we were talking about the penguin, as you know, and I said just now before he joined us that I had only one problem with the one choice they made, and I did not disclose yet what it was, but I'm gonna do now. I thought the whole scene where they went to see his mom again, I could have done without it. Really felt like, okay, we need to show his mom again. And yeah, it's, to me that was a bit redundant, and that's my only criticism of this episode. I thought that was not needed, but overall, I really enjoyed the action and everything. Lord Deathman, what did you think of this week's episode of The Penguin? Do you have any criticisms at all?
I do. And I'm in the same camp as you with regards to his relationship with his mother. Sometimes it does feel like that's slowing down the momentum of an episode. But at the same time, I think that his relationship with his mother kind of humanizes him in a way. If I had to be critical of any aspect of it, I think it's really his relationship with Eve Carlo, played by Carmen Jogo. I don't quite know how to pronounce her last name. That isn't really resonating with me, and I think it's like unnecessary and could almost be excised from the narrative altogether. I'm not sure what part she's going to play in this entire story, but it just kind of seems on his quest to get to the top of the criminal pyramid, she's just like a pit stop. Even more so than the mother character. The mother character kind of at least gives us some insight into Oz's, personality and his psychology.
Yeah, okay. I agree so far, but I don't need to see her every week. You're in like a mafia thriller heist type thing where there's murder left and right, cut off fingers, how is Oz going to lose a knife, etc. And then, we go visit his mom. Maybe she baked cookies. I don't know. But to me, it really took me out of it for a while. And I thought that was a shame. But what did you like the most about this week's episode?
Wow, there wasn't much not to like about this episode. They are keeping up the promise of the firecracker of the debut that they had. I can't even say firecracker. That debut was a stick of dynamite, and now they're kind of keeping you. I just love the momentum of this show. It's really dynamic. The cat and mouse game that Oz is playing is gripping. It keeps you watching the screen, listening to the dialogue, and waiting for the twists and turns. Like, how is this going to work out for him? Is he going to end up on top? Is there going to be a setback? And I also like there's another supervillain sort of thing that came out recently that does not do a good job of balancing this aspect. But Penguin always lets you know that this guy is a sociopath. As much as you might want to be rooting for him to sort of succeed in his objectives, it reminds you that this guy is dangerous, that he is a killer, and that this isn't somebody who should be fetishized or glorified. He just happens to be the protagonist of this story. So you're just rooting for a lesser evil person to get out on top of people who are more evil. But yeah, hardly any qualms about this episode. I could point out a lot of different key moments, but it all comes down to the basement sequences and him just running around trying to cover his own ass with regards to being outed by this informant, and uh, unfortunately finding an opportunity to assassinate the man, which you knew he was going to do from the very beginning, but still it plays out in such a way that you're just well entertained and brought along for this ride. So I'm still really bullish on this show, and this was a great episode. If not the equal to the first episode, it certainly stands, just a notch below it.
Yeah. Okay. Loki's mom, you had a follow up, probably on my comment about baking cookies.
Well, not so much baking cookies, but yeah, I think Cherry Jones's character is integral to this plot, to the story, and to this episode. There's one he's seen where he's dancing with his mom. Now remember, this is the only person he really loves in the world. She's always been there for him. And there's a scene where he's talking about his mother and um, how they went dancing after his brothers had been killed by I'm assuming by or somebody, the Maronis. I'm not sure. I didn't catch who they killed them, but and he's talking. I think it's to um, I want to call her What's her Hangman? What's her name again? I've forgotten it. Her real name.
Sophia.
Sophia
Sophia.
Falcone.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sophia. Yeah. And he's sort of telling her about it, and you can, what it is. He wants to get his mother. She's fading. He knows he's going to lose her soon, and she says, I don't deserve to be. Get me out of this house. I don't deserve this. And so I think that's one of his motivations to get on top so that he can get the money so that he can at least put his mother in the lifestyle he thinks she deserves for the remaining years of her life. So yeah, I think, and also it to a degree, I think it makes his character more complex. Not every, but comic, but we tend to see these comic, but and they're always like either good or bad. And here, I think we see there are some maybe
Nuance.
not redeeming value, but at least it shows that he's not an absolute horrible, hateful person. I mean, he does have some tender side. He has a tender side to him.
I agree. It's just that in this episode specifically, it was all about murder and us trying to get away with his double play, and then yeah, we go to see his mom. I just didn't like it, but that's personal. Anyway, Taylor, the did you? Did you like the way he framed? I think his name was Carlito for the murder in the basement.
It was very, very smart, and of course he didn't want to kill that guy right away. He wanted that guy to implicate the other boss before he died. But the kid wasn't able to plant the diamond, so that he felt that that plan had been screwed up. But then I saw a lot of people online saying, well, why didn't he plant the knife on the other boss? Why did he plant it on Carlito instead? And I think, first of all, he don't like Carlito to start with, but because Carlito is Sophia's right-hand man, and he's trying to get in with Sophia. But also, I don't think planting the knife on the other guy would have worked, because he had no opportunity to go down there and kill the guy.
Yeah,
he would have been able to talk his way out of it, because he was with the other boss the whole time.
exactly. And
So I thought it was
then
really good writing.
and then actually it would implicate us immediately, because he would have had a scuffle with Vidi, I think his name is. So yeah, I really enjoy. Do you agree with the vibe that Loki's mom was referring to, Godfather-like, or is it?
Yeah, in many ways, the movie is like The Godfather. Of course, The Godfather is kind of the gold standard of organized crime movies,
Mm-hmm.
and this show is, definitely playing up to that, recreating a lot of it. But there's there's just so many great things about this show. The woman playing Sophia Falcone, in addition to her, there's an expression that sometimes they use in Hollywood for actors, that she gives great face, is what it says. And she is just so expressive, and you can just see behind her eyes what she is thinking. And that ability is just very rare and very amazing. Especially that scene where which, by the way, another example of great writing, we find out later that this was a setup. The scene where the cousin comes up to her and is all friendly with her and says, we should go to Italy and have a girls' trip or whatever. But then when the little girl, the daughter, shows up, and she sees, Sophia immediately knows that the cousin was faking it, because of how she reacts in fear when Sophia gets close to her daughter. And again, all of that is all in her face. And then, of course, later on, when she's talking to her uncle, and he says, yeah, you should go to Italy, it becomes clear that he obviously sent the cousin over there to put that into her head, because they're just trying to get rid of her.
Yeah, actually, that scene, Lord Deathman, I thought that was so well written and so well acted. You could there was not much happening, actually, just Sophia rearranging the hair of a little girl, but it was so tense. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I think Kristen Milotti should be up for awards, just like Colin Farrell should be as well there too. I mean, we know he's a criminal mastermind. We know Cobb is a Batman villain, on that level. But Colin is playing him in such a way that the guy is just kind of bumbling at times, and you're like, you're always guessing, is this a little bit of luck? Is it him really being that good? Um, yeah, I just think they're just doing an excellent job with the writing. Even Renzi Feliz as Victor. I have a feeling that that character is going to turn a corner from being sort of amateurish to going, pro pretty quickly in terms of embracing the criminal world. I think he's being groomed for that kind of thing. But there's just so much potential that all of these characters have. And, I get it. This is, overlaying the superhero, supervillain genre with Sopranos slash Godfather. But I think that this is actually a pretty original take on that, just because it deals with like the star of this is like he's not the top of the family. He's not a Tony Soprano. He's not a Michael Corleone that's trying to juggle all these different things and keep order across a large organization. He's a middle management player, and he's got to look out for threats from above and from below, which makes his grind and his hustle uniquely American, in terms of that aspect of it. And it just makes the show, again, just so dynamic and propulsive to kind of watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like Clemenza.
Right.
Exactly.
He really reminds me of Clemenza. Taylor, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, and this goes back to what we were saying about what a great character he is. First of all, he capitalizes on the fact that people underestimate him. But this show, if you're going to do a story about a villain, the way to do it is not make him a hero like Morbius or Venom tried to do. Don't make him a hero. Make him a great villain. Make him someone we love to hate, and that is what they're doing with this guy. We admire how smart he is, how clever he is, how fast he is on his feet, but we also hate his guts because he's just a despicable human being at all times, and I think they're really doing that extremely well. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, I think we have talked enough about the Penguin episode 2, Inside Man. It's time to do a rating. I'm gonna start with you, Lokismom. Can I have your number for this week's episode?
Yeah, I think I gave. I can't remember what I gave last week. I think it was 8, but I'm going to give it an 8.5. This episode.
Yeah, fair enough. Lord Deathman?
I'm going to give this episode a 9, just because I want to give the show a little bit more room to grow in terms of greatness. So I'm being optimistic there. And also just wanted to point out my favorite scene of this episode was really when he and Victor are digging. Well, I should say when Victor's digging that grave, and Cobb kind of gives him this object lesson in like this is what it means to fail in this game, that we're playing here. I thought that was a really brutal scene to kind of bring somebody up to speed in terms of their education on the stakes of the criminal underworld.
I agree. So a 9 out of 10 for you. Taylor?
I think I gave last week's episode a 9. I will also give this week a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks, people, so we can't remember the number from last time. We're getting old here. I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. I really liked it, except for that one scene with his mom. Sorry, keep coming back to that, and that knocks off 2 points from me. But that's just my feeling, and I think that's fair for me. Anyway, still high numbers across the board. We really love this show. That will conclude this week's review of Champions for episode 2, called Inside Man of the Penguin. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, you can help us out. Like and share this review, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you really want more of us, join our forum at sacardo.freeforums.net. We would love it if you do that. Next week, of course, we're going to talk about episode 3, but don't forget to check out our review series for Agatha All Along and the Rings of Power. And there's more DC content with a review for Joker Folie à Deux coming up. And we drop a brand new episode of the Star Trek Project as well. It's episode 10 about Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. So for now, I want to thank you all, also on behalf of our champions, and wish you to always walk steady. Bye.